I honestly feel like my kids were in more danger as a trooper's kid, as a cop's kid.
Hey folks, DJ here. I hope that makes Lester happy.
Can't believe you don't wear that hat all the way through the podcast.
No.
Episode.
Yeah, no. I'm not a flat bill kind of girl.
It's not a flat bill hat. You just hadn't shaped it.
Well, maybe. Okay, guys. So, hope y'all had a good week. And today, we're going to talk about kids on the internet. Specifically, ours.
Our kids aren't on the internet.
So, I got an email from... I forgot what her name is. I didn't write it down. She emailed in and was asking how we felt about having our kids, on the channel and safety and all that. And it just got us to thinking that I thought it'd be a pretty good topic to discuss, and why we ultimately decided to move forward with that, and all the things that brings, good and bad.
It doesn't bring bad, does it? So before anybody really just jumps on us and says we don't care about our kids' safety, think about it. Yes, we do put our kids out there for the world to see, and there are bad people in this world, trust me, I know that. But who's not putting their kids on the internet? If you think about it, you look at it. How many people post their vacation pictures on Facebook, or their daily life on Snapchat and Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff? It is very, very normal now that kids are seen on the internet.
Yeah.
Now, we probably go a little bit farther than most people, but everybody's putting their kids on the internet. Or everybody, just about.
Yes, I agree.
Unless you have foster kids. That was something we learned a long time ago.
Yes, yeah. When we fostered a little girl for a few months, when Emily was 2, and we could not post pictures of her or video, nothing like that. I don't even know if we were videoing.
No, it wasn't YouTube. It was just Facebook and stuff.
Yeah, just any kind of social media we couldn't do. Houston's
home right now.
Yeah,
so.
Houston's home. So anyway, I guess when Daniel started putting it on YouTube, it was before I feel like YouTube was very big. Maybe it was pretty big, but it definitely wasn't for us. And it was just mainly,
it was just me and Weston's hunting adventures, really. It was, when I started YouTube, it was just, I watched a lot of hunting shows, and I thought, man, I can do better than most of these guys, because it was like the exact same thing every week with every show.
Yes.
I was like, I can do that. That's not hard. It was hard. It was really difficult. But I got to capture all of our hunting memories on video and then share them with friends and family. I was editing it 4 or 5 months after deer season a lot of times, because it wasn't that big a deal, and just uploading it to YouTube, and I didn't care who watched it there. I just shared a link on Facebook so my friends could see it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what got the ball rolling there, I feel like.
Yeah, and that was a long time ago. That was probably 2010.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
And
maybe a little after that, but close, yeah.
Yeah, so we live in such a small town. We know everyone. Weston's safety was not really, I would say, a concern for us at the time at all.
At the time, I don't even think we considered internet safety really wasn't even a thing, I don't feel like, really. Right. I'm sure there were people out there that thought about it, but it wasn't even a concern.
Wasn't even an issue, yeah. Now, I will say, when the channel started growing quite a bit and getting a lot more traction when Houston was younger, it's, we had conversations about it. How do we do this? Is it okay? And ultimately, we watch our kids, especially when they're small. We're with them a lot. And I'm going to also say we trust the people that we let them go with. We know that they're going to take care of them and watch them, and especially with the channel growing to what it has, and the popularity and notoriety that comes with that. Like, Emily goes to ball games with other people and gets recognized and has to, sign autographs. And, that's kind of weird for her. But at the same time, the people that she's with knows, to watch her, and we trust them.
I mean, we actually like had to have conversations with friends and some of Houston's friends' parents. Like, hey, listen, if you're going out in public outside of our hometown, just know that, you know, there may be a 60-year-old female or a 6-year-old kid that recognizes Houston and like gets starstruck.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes I wonder if that's, I don't know what the ultimate end is for a kid that in like Houston's position or Emily's position. You know, I do worry about what that may turn into for them. Mm-hmm. But ultimately it boils down to this for me anyways. I feel like this is somewhat of our ministry. Like, we're not preachers. We don't get on here and preach every week, but we do share our faith through a camera. And I truly feel like God led us down this path. Like we started doing it, but I feel like there were a lot of opportunities that came that the Lord blessed us with. And I just don't feel like it would be right to say, okay, God, you can have this much, but you can't have this much, you know, like, so it's our family. It's what we do. And I don't feel unsafe about it at all.
No, we've only really I've had one time that, it was actually at Okie Noodlin last year, where, I had to just tell Emily, like, our good friend had a RV there, and that was in the back away from all the people and stuff. And there was a guy probably in his 30s that he did come and talk to us, but he wanted to know where Emily was because she wasn't standing right there with us at the time. And then I watched him and Emily, you know, and he kind of followed her and he kept asking us questions about her. Anyway, I ultimately just said, Emily, go to the RV, you know, just go. And so that
in the RV, let's back that up and say in sending her to the RV, that was our best friend, one of our best friends' dad's RV. He's the police chief. So it was the like rest area for all the law enforcement at the event. So it wasn't like we were saying, oh, go off in the back parking lot.
Yeah,
he may follow you out there.
Sorry, I should have clarified.
It was an RV full of cops.
Yes. So she was very safe there. 100, her and her friend went in there. And anyway, she was very safe there. So that's the only time I feel like I've gotten uncomfortable. There was a time early last year, when we were actually all home with COVID. We were sick, and some very older man, not in good health, just showed up in our driveway. This was before we had the entrance and the gate and all that. And that sped up security for me. Yes. So, you know, we've had a few weird moments. We get weird emails. Sometimes I've gotten one really odd letter. I think I saved it just because it was like the weirdest. But for the most part, I feel like there's a lot of good people out there, and they're just, you know,
Yeah, I agree. There are bad people out there, but I honestly feel like my kids were in more danger as a trooper's kid, as a cop's kid in a small town than they are with their face on the internet. Like you said earlier, we're in a very small community, about 4,500 people in our hometown. So if we're at a ball game in Houston or Emily, you're off in the bleachers somewhere, chances are everyone in every direction around her or him knows them. Yeah. So even if we aren't sitting right there directly with them, it's a small, tight-knit community. And if something weird was going on, we've got plenty of parents are going to see it
and step in 100%.
And, but I feel like we had more odd things happen when I was in law enforcement that would worry me more than the internet things. Like our first house was in town, in a different town. I had 2 different people that I had written tickets to come to our house and knock on the door.
Yes.
Neither one of them luckily were mad, but still.
Yeah. I think they were they looking to pay their bill?
They didn't know how to pay the ticket, or they had a question, or it was something silly.
Yeah.
But people in that small town knew where we lived. They knew where the trooper's house was.
Yeah. There was actually like some apartment complexes not too far from us and could see our house, and there was someone there that he'd arrested. And so like in that home that we lived in, like all my windows had, you know, blackout curtains, and it was just, you know, you kind of felt trapped, you know.
A little bit.
Not all the time by any means, but those kind of things you just think about. And, you know, when we got to move back here, like I have one curtain. I think I have one curtain in our entire house. Well, Weston's got one in his room. But like in our living room, we don't have to do that here.
But we're a half a mile, close to half a mile from the county road, and we have
Yeah.
our gate. And anyways, but I feel like being in law enforcement and raising a family in the law enforcement world, I feel like that prepared us more for the safety and the well-being of our kids dealing with the public than anything with the internet. Now, there are a lot of weirdos on the internet. I know that's a possibility, and you know, I think that's on us as parents to help train our kids to know and recognize things that aren't normal or right, or something's weird, or they get a weird vibe from somebody. And I think that's, you know, part of our job, to train them and teach them that type of stuff. And I really honestly don't feel that concerned about my kids' safety putting them on YouTube and Facebook and stuff.
Yeah. The other question is, would we change anything? And as far, would we go back and not put them on it? Absolutely not. We wouldn't have this platform if they weren't a part of it.
Right.
And it's not about this platform that, you know, what am I trying to say? We don't have this platform to just put them out there, you know, for financial purposes. That's not what this was ever intended to be. It just, you know, like you said, God blessed us, and it's grown to what it has. And for whatever reason, y'all like to watch it.
What can I do to get you to cry a little bit?
Oh, not today.
Man,
I don't want to cry
I
today.
get you to cry on an episode. It does better.
It definitely will happen again. It will. It's going to happen, but not today.
Yeah.
I'm okay today. Before I get into the questions, I do want to mention my mom and stepdad's anniversary is in a few days, and they've been married 25 years. So happy anniversary to them. That's crazy.
25 years.
That's crazy. Yeah, one of the questions was, where did I grow up? That's not what I wrote down, but I did get an email asking, you know, everyone's heard Daniel's story. Well, I grew up
in a house.
About, I don't know, 30 miles from here. I was there most of my life. Whenever I was little, I was actually born over in Chickasha, Oklahoma. And my grandparents and my dad had a big farm, and so we lived on the farm in Lindsay.
Really wish they wouldn't have sold that.
Me too.
Like,
yeah,
1,000+ acres.
Yeah, it was,
ran like, from talking to your papa, like what, 400 to 500 stalker calves and things, and like
we
crazy.
had pigs. And anyway, I was probably 4 or 5, I think, when we moved back to my mom's hometown, which is Melbourne, and we lived there until 97 for the most part. Until 1997, I moved to Sulphur when I finished my freshman year in Melbourne, and then I came to Sulphur in 1997. And we've been here ever since. That's when my mom and Kevin got married. That's when we came to Sulphur. So
I thought I was why you came to Sulphur.
no, I didn't know you existed then.
But you were going to learn.
I was going to learn. So with that being said, we are very happy that our kids are on the channel, and
Well, I think it's honestly taught our kids a lot. I mean, a lot of life lessons and skills, and I mean, like watching. And of course, the 2 older ones are teenagers, and they're not real into it right now. But like watching Houston when we went to Kentucky, when we were at Louisville at the National Farm Show, like I watched that kid interacting with a lot of younger kids that were 4, 5, 6 years old, you know, and just the way he held himself and presented himself, and the way he treated those other kids that literally looked up to him like a superstar. Like, we have to keep him grounded sometimes, like keep his head like down here where it needs to be, you know, because it's interesting. It's an interesting world when like Houston and I go off somewhere and he's signing autographs and taking pictures with all these people one day, and then the next day he's back in our hometown in his normal school with his regular friends, and they don't really see him that way, you know. And it's not like we're homeschooling our kids or private schooling our kids. Like, they're in the same public school system they've always been in, that I went through, that you went through in high school. And I don't know, it was really cool watching him, his maturity level, and seeing that these kids really looked up to him, you know, and the way he handled it. And I tried to show that on the video that we did when we were there, and it was really cool. So I think it's teaching, it's especially him because he's so involved in it. Like, he could pick up a camera and do an interview for the news tomorrow, and I promise you there's a lot of troopers that I worked with that have been in law enforcement for 10 plus years. Somebody points a camera at them and they go, my name is, and then, like, it's something, it's a skill that he's learned and developed at such a young age. So, you know, like, public speaking for him may come a lot easier than it did for most people, you know.
I will say he does not want to get on stage at our church.
No, he doesn't, but
not yet.
But as far as just being able to speak,
right?
You know,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I love getting those messages from. Well, I've got messages from people I don't know, but people that I do know from other towns, you know, and say, you know, I saw Emily or I saw Houston at the ball game, and they were so great with my little one when they wanted to meet them, and you know, I just love getting those, because you know. How are your kids really acting when you're not with them? Because, you know, usually I feel like they're better when they're not with you or with their own parents, you know. So, anyway, let's get into the questions.
Before you get into these questions, what are you talking about? Because still people are emailing the wrong emails. And so if somebody has a question that they want us to, a topic or a conversation we can talk about on this podcast.
Email afhpodcast@yahoo.com. That's where the questions, the topic suggestions, whatever you want to know. Sometimes I email back. Sometimes I just don't have time. And some of them just get addressed right here for y'all. So shoot me an email. Question number 1 is from Victoria. She says, do you have a bucket list? And if so, what's on it? I could have done a whole podcast or episode about this. Or really could have.
I mean,
I may later.
Okay. Most of my buckets are full of feed, so I don't know.
Gosh.
Got to feed all DJ's animals.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. So, okay, you go first with yours.
I didn't even know this was going to be one of the questions.
I know, but you should know what's on your bucket list.
I mean, not exactly.
A couple things.
Most of mine would have to do with like big hunting or big fishing trips. I feel like I want to go to Alaska. I want to go fishing in Alaska sometime. I don't have that planned out by any means, but Alaska I mean do some legit real fishing, not just jump on a boat with 50 people and somebody hands you a pole and you drop it straight down. I think I'd really love to go hunt a big elk. That's just something, but I don't have the wall space for a big elk.
It would have to go in our shop.
Yep, it'd go in the shop. I've never been elk hunting. I think elk hunting would be fun, but I don't know if that's really a bucket list thing. That's something I'd just go do. When you're talking about bucket list stuff, I mean, those are big things. So I don't know. I don't really have a bucket list.
Well, while you're thinking, I'll talk about mine.
Yeah, I know you got a big list.
Well, I won't tell them all. My number 1 on my bucket list is to go to Bali. I'm really jealous of my brother and my sister-in-law because they've actually got to go. But before Brooks, they got to go.
They did a lot of things before they had a baby.
Yeah, they went to Iceland. I think it'd be cool to go there, but I'm not a cold person, so I'm not sure. I just want to see it. So definitely Bali. I want to go see the beaches and the caves and the waterfalls. It's just beautiful over there. Right now, it's just not feasible for us to go. I think it's really cheap once you get there. The flight's your most expensive thing. I've done a lot of research, but it's just not feasible for us to go because you'd have to essentially be gone 10 to 14 days because of the travel time and all that, and we've just got too many animals. I mean, we got enough people to take care of.
I've got to feed your animals.
Oh my gosh. So that is my number 1 bucket list. My second, I think it would be amazing to go to Africa. And I don't want to hunt necessarily, but I just want to go on like a safari thing. I don't know. That's just like so
Let's
cool.
do it.
Okay, let's do it. That would be so cool. And then my third thing that I'll share with y'all, I was actually wanting to do it this year for my 40th, but because of COVID and, you know, Canada's rules or whatever, I want to go to Banff. And I was starting to plan all that, and then, you know, in all my research, you know, whatever, we can't go there right now. So hopefully in the next few years.
You could go there right now.
I'm not.
Is there a specific reason?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Leave that out. I'm sure everyone knows what the rules in Canada to get into Canada are, and I'm not about that. So that will wait. I feel like God has perfect timing, and so eventually it will work out. So that's our short bucket list for now. I'll do a whole episode later on that. Okay.
I can't believe a Pensacola beach house wasn't even on that.
Well, I was thinking like trips. I'm gonna have a beach, like I'm gonna have one eventually. That's all in God's timing too. But
okay.
We'll have one.
Okay, so this was just like vacations.
Yeah, this
bucket
is.
list
I'm just
all
thinking
that was.
vacation bucket list.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where you went with it too. So I mean.
No, those were work trips.
Whatever. Okay, so question number 2. Ed Kirkpatrick, he sent in another question. And he said, with springtime coming up, do you have any special spring memories that you'd like to share?
Special spring memories, I feel like, is, well, fishing.
Sand bass
so
fishing,
the
for
sand
sure.
bass run in the creek, the white bass, that's something that's just like part of my heritage almost. Like growing up where I did here on this property in this creek in the lake, and like it's just like an annual tradition, and I have so many fond memories. Or just so many memories, and not all of them are fond because
you're ultimately fishing with your dad and you get yelled at. Yeah.
But I have a ton of memories of just all the men that used to come. Like it used to be like almost like a festival. There'd just be guys that show up out from everywhere and fish, and we'd have these huge fish fries and all this stuff. And I feel like that's one thing I've tried to continue to portray through our channel every spring. You go back and look like. Yeah. There's probably 50 videos on just the sand bass in the creek. Yeah.
It's so fun. It's so fun when the creek comes up and they're just like rolling, and every cast, that's how I like to fish.
Yeah. And Ed was here last year. He came and stayed in Dusty's cabins, and he got to experience that with one of his friends, and I think they caught quite a few.
Yeah.
And,
it's really cool.
It's just one of those unique, special traditions for me and a lot of people in our area, I think.
My spring memories would be baseball. So much baseball. We always played so much baseball. And of course, Weston's out now and not playing baseball, but Emily decided to do slow pitch softball. So at least it's kind of the same. And then Houston will start baseball. Willie had his first little hitting practice the other night. So
he played t-ball and he played coach pitch, and he's coming up through the ranks, I guess, of Little League Baseball. So he's excited about that. So
that and track. Weston didn't do a whole lot of track, but last year him and Emily did it, and it was so fun. And so Emily's doing it again this year. And anyway, for me, it's the sports. Not him so much, but that's what I love.
Fishing is a sport.
Okay.
There are professional fishermen.
There are.
It's like Bubba Gump and all his shrimp. There's every kind of fisherman. It's a sport.
Okay.
How about bow fishing? How do you feel about bow fishing?
Well, I love bow fishing.
Okay, it's a sport.
Okay.
The biggest problem about bow fishing is it usually starts at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night because you do it all in the dark.
Yeah.
And you're out all night, and we're of the age. We like to go to bed a little bit earlier than we used to.
Yeah.
DJ goes to bed with the chicken sometimes.
No, I don't.
The sun goes down and she's like,
it.
Can I go get in the bed? I'm like, honey, we haven't had supper.
I'm glad you said supper. I'm not sure what you were saying there.
Really?
Okay, let's go to number 3.
Moving on.
Question number 3. Susan says, will you have any special guests on the episodes? Yes, I'm going to.
Special.
Special.
All about special.
Oh, I got lots of special people that are going to come on here.
Good. Maybe then I won't have to be on here every week, and you can just take this thing and let it fly like your own little baby.
It's hard working around everybody's schedules. Yeah, I mean, I'm working on some guests, but the scheduling, the timing. I wanted to do a different one last week, but timing and ice storms and, stock shows, all that fun stuff.
Ice storms. It's 81 degrees, according to my watch. It's 81 degrees outside right now.
It was not.
Yeah. So. Anything else? There was something else I wanted to say.
Oh.
I can't remember what it was. Somebody will get on to me because I probably just was going to interrupt you, but
it's okay.
There's something else I was going to talk about. I don't know. When it comes to this whole video in general, like, I feel fairly safe. I feel like that we're doing the right thing. We're on the right path. We're following God's plan as best we can for our life. And if that means putting our family at a little bit of a risk, I mean, yeah, we could be. I think there is a little bit of a risk there, but I think we can be smart about it. And I don't know. I just don't feel like, I feel like the reward way outweighs the risk. We're not going to sit at home and be scared.
Right.
Whether it's internet safety, whether it's this war in Russia and Ukraine, whether it's fuel prices, whether it's food safety, like, we're not going to sit here and be scared. I feel like there's a lot of people, I think there's even, a lot of YouTube channels devoted to scare tactics of scaring people to go, oh, the world is ending, you better hide under your rock and stay home. Like, we're going to go live our life.
Yeah. I am not meant to not live my life. We don't have a whole lot of time.
You just got to get to the beach.
That's right.
It's almost beach weather.
It is. That's what motivates me. Okay, so now song of the week is called Pick Me Up by Gabby Barrett. I love it. It's so good.
Have I heard that?
You've heard it. You just weren't paying attention. It's good. It's a fairly new country song, and she's a new artist, but I love the song.
Okay.
You should listen to it.
You're going to sing it, right?
No, I will in the truck. Not on this platform. No. Okay, so that's it, guys. Shoot us some emails, afhpodcast@yahoo.com, and I hope y'all have a good week. Do your best.